If your dog locks eyes with you and just stares, most owners either stare back, look away, or laugh it off without thinking twice. But a dog's stare is one of the most loaded forms of communication they have, and depending on the context, it means something completely different every single time. One of those meanings is something most owners misread their entire lives. Not just misread, they reward it, encourage it, and have no idea they're doing it. Another one, the one that looks almost identical to love, can get someone hurt. And then there's the third kind, the one that happened 33,000 years ago and literally rewired your brain. I'll explain that one last, because once you understand it, you'll never take a quiet moment with your dog for granted again. Neuroscientists, evolutionary biologists, and animal behaviorists have now built a complete picture of why dogs stare. It's one of the most extraordinary stories in the entire history of the human-animal bond. 1. The soft stare. This one is pure bonding chemistry. You're on the couch, your dog is lying nearby, not asking for anything, and then you look up and they're just watching you. Soft eyes, relaxed jaw, completely still. It doesn't feel demanding. It feels like something else entirely, and it should, because something extraordinary is happening in both of your brains right now. In 2015, researcher Takefumi Kikusui at Azabu University published a landmark study in the journal Science. He placed 30 dog owner pairs in a room for 30 minutes and measured oxytocin, the bonding hormone, before and after. Dogs that held long mutual gazes with their owners triggered a 130% oxytocin increase in themselves and a 300% increase in their owners. Dogs in the short gaze group showed no change at all. Then the researchers ran the exact same experiment with hand-raised wolves and their human caretakers. Wolves that had been bottle-fed socialized from their entire lives. 0. No oxytocin increase in either species, not even close. Brian Hare at Duke University called this finding evidence that dogs literally hijacked the human bonding pathway, the same neurochemical loop that bonds a mother to her newborn. No other animal on Earth does this with us, not even our closest evolutionary relatives. When your dog gives you that soft, unhurried gaze, hold it. Don't look away out of habit. 3 to 5 seconds of soft, mutual eye contact actively releases oxytocin in both of you. You're not just sitting there, you're bonding at a neurochemical level. This is the cheapest, most powerful thing you can do for your relationship with your dog. But not all stares come from that same place. And the next one, the one most owners think is the same thing, is something completely different. 2. The demand stare. You trained this one accidentally. Your dog stares at you at exactly 5:45 p.m. They stare at the leash hook by the door. They stare at you, then flick their eyes toward the treat jar, then back to you. They do it again and again. This is not love. This is a negotiation, and you started it. The demand stare is learned behavior, reinforced every single time an owner has responded to it. Research has cataloged 19 distinct referential gestures dogs use during these communicative exchanges. Gaze alternation between an object and a human face, approaching and retreating, vocalizing alongside the stare. It's as intentional as a toddler pointing at something they want. Dogs figured out that sustained eye contact on humans produces results, and they've been using it ever since. The tell is what happens around the eyes. Demand stare dogs are focused and slightly tense. The body has a purpose. There's often a lean forward, and critically, they're tracking something specific, not just watching you. Don't respond to the demand stare with what they want. Not immediately. Ask for a sit or a down or any small behavior first, then reward. You're not refusing to meet their needs. You're reshaping how they ask. The stare becomes a cue to engage, not a button that dispenses food. The difference in your day-to-day life is significant. If this is already changing how you see your dog, hit subscribe. We're building the most science-backed dog psychology series on this channel, and you don't want to miss what's coming. Now for the one I warned you about. The stare that gets misread as cute. The one that has caused 4.5 million dog bites a year in the US alone. 3. The hard stare. This one is a warning. Most people miss it. You've seen this on social media. A dog staring intensely at their food bowl while someone reaches for it. A dog locked on a toy. A dog giving what people caption as the death stare over a stolen spot on the sofa. Thousands of likes, people laughing. Animal behaviorists are not laughing. The hard stare is what veterinary behaviorist Sarah Heath calls the second rung on a dog's aggression ladder. It follows freezing, the dog going statue still, and it precedes the lip curl, the growl, the snap, and the bite. It is not a personality quirk. It is a warning. Applied animal behaviorist Patricia McConnell describes hard eyes as going cold, a frozen, flat gaze where the usual subtle eye movements stop completely. The body is rigid, weight is forward, mouth is closed tight. If you see this and keep doing what you're doing, you have moved past the warning. The CDC reports over 4.5 million dog bites annually in the US. Over 800,000 require medical attention. When researchers interview bite victims, the overwhelming majority describe it as unprovoked. Behaviorists who review the cases almost always find a hard stare in the seconds before. It was there. Nobody recognized it. McConnell's rule is simple. If your dog gives you the hard stare, stop doing whatever you're doing right now. No negotiating, no testing. Stop. Back away slowly. Give them space. And if this is happening regularly around food, toys, or specific spots, that's resource guarding. And a certified veterinary behaviorist is the right call. Not a trainer, a behaviorist. 3 stares down. Now let's talk about the one that involves no threat, no demand, and no agenda. Just your dog's brain working very hard on something. 4. The head tilt stare. Their brain is actually loading. You say your dog's name in a slightly different tone, or you use a word they half recognize, and they go still, cock their head to one side, and stare at you with an expression that can only be described as trying very hard. This one is cognitive, and a 2021 study made it considerably more fascinating. Researchers at Eötvös Loránd University in Hungary studied gifted word learner dogs that had memorized more than 10 toy names. When they heard a toy's name, these dogs tilted their heads 43% of the time. Typical dogs, hearing the same words, tilted only 2% of the time. Critically, each dog always tilted in the same direction, regardless of where the owner was standing, ruling out sound localization as the cause. The tilt is internal cognitive processing, memory retrieval. The dog is genuinely searching for the right mental file. Gregory Burns' fMRI work at Emory University adds another layer. Owner praise activates the caudate nucleus, the brain's dopamine reward center, as strongly as food in most dogs. Your voice, your words, your attention are neurologically significant to your dog. The stare during a tilt isn't confusion, it's focus. If your dog tilts their head when you talk to them, they're engaging deeply. Lean into it. Use consistent names for objects and actions. The more predictable your language, the richer the cognitive connection you build. Dogs who learn more words show more of these engaged gaze behaviors. It's a feedback loop you can actively build. Now the one that never gets enough attention. The stare that isn't cute, isn't demanding, isn't cognitive. The one that means your dog might need a vet. 5. Staring at nothing. This one you should not ignore. Your dog is standing in the hallway, completely still, staring at a blank wall or a corner of the ceiling. No sound, no movement, just locked onto nothing. First instinct for most owners: laugh, film it, post it. My dog sees ghosts. 17,000 likes. Here's what to actually do. In younger dogs, blank staring usually has a benign explanation. They've heard something inside the wall, a mouse or insect, or detected a scent that isn't visible to you. Their senses work on a different frequency. The practical test is simple. Say their name. If they snap out of it and come to you normally, it's almost certainly sensory investigation. In senior dogs, it's different. Canine cognitive dysfunction syndrome, the canine equivalent of Alzheimer's, affects 28% of dogs aged 11 to 12 and 68% of dogs aged 15 to 16. Wall staring and blank staring are hallmark symptoms, alongside disorientation, sleep-wake reversal, and getting trapped behind furniture. Blank staring can also indicate focal seizures, subtle episodes where the dog zones out without dramatic convulsions, or the early onset of vision loss. If your dog is over 10 and you're seeing blank staring alongside any other behavioral changes, sleep disruption, confusion, getting stuck in corners, film 2 or 3 episodes and bring the footage to your vet. Early intervention in CDS can genuinely slow progression, and if the name test produces no response at all, skip the vet appointment and go to an emergency clinic. Now, the one I said at the start was the strangest story in the entire history of this bond. 33,000 years in the making, and it changed your brain without you knowing. 6. 33,000 years ago, Dogs evolved a muscle just to make you look at them. Dogs didn't always look at humans the way they do now. Wolves, dogs' direct ancestors, treated sustained eye contact as a threat. It was confrontational. It preceded aggression. So how did we get from a predator that couldn't hold your gaze to an animal that stares at you with something that looks exactly like love? The answer is a single muscle, and the fact that it exists at all is extraordinary. In 2019, anatomist Julianne Kaminski at the University of Portsmouth dissected the heads of 6 domestic dogs and 4 gray wolves. She found one critical difference. Dogs possess a well-developed muscle above the inner eyebrow called the levator anguli oculi medialis, the LAOM. In wolves, this muscle exists only as scattered fibers, essentially vestigial. This single muscle is what creates puppy dog eyes, that inner brow raise that makes your dog look sad, vulnerable, and irresistible. Dogs produce it 5 times more frequently than wolves. The Siberian Husky, the breed genetically closest to wolves, was the only breed in the study that lacked one of the associated muscles entirely. Kaminski's conclusion? This muscle evolved under direct evolutionary pressure. Over 33,000 years, dogs that could make this expression got better care, more food, stronger bonds with humans. The ones who couldn't were left behind. Your dog's ability to make you feel something when they look at you is not an accident. It is the product of millennia of selection aimed at one target, you. The next time your dog looks up at you with that expression, that soft, slightly sad inner brow raise, understand what you're actually seeing. An animal that spent 33,000 years evolving specifically to connect with you, not to manipulate you, to reach you. Let yourself be reached. 6 stares, 6 completely different messages. The soft gaze that floods both your brains with the bonding hormone. The demand stare you accidentally trained. The hard stare that is never a joke. The cognitive tilt. The wall stare you shouldn't ignore. And the one built by 33,000 years of evolution, aimed specifically at your face. Your dog is always talking to you with their eyes. The question is whether you're fluent enough to listen. Now you are. If this series is doing what I hope it's doing, subscribe so you catch the next one. Because next we're going into pack dynamics. What really happens in a multi-dog home, who your dogs actually trust, and what their behavior toward each other tells you about how they see you. I'll see you there.